So
we saw you in the cafe with such and such, don't you dare. You're not blacklisted.
if you're in the cafe on Tuesday, thou shalt not have another date that week.
You know what? Thou shalt not troll my point.
Met your match.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
We in the field, we in the field. Just put it in work. We raising the bar. You tuned in to the Trackstar.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah. What's good?
All right, this episode is sponsored by Nectar Distribution. Make sure you go to nectar.trackstars.com for all the distribution options that you have to do music through Trackstarz. Make sure that you look at the two options, weigh against the elite sponsorship or the basic.
All right, so, okay. So
Yeah.
you guys don't even know about what I'm talking about. Okay.
I was nervous when we cracked the mic.
Okay. So first of all, we got the Clean Ears ladies here today to join us. Okay, I'm gonna start with this. So there was some controversy in our
Facebook
Trackstarz Facebook group. And she's like, what? So I'm gonna start with this. All right. So there was an article written by the Very Smart Brothers. You guys know who those guys are? Yeah. Really good writers. Where they said that straight black men are the white people of black people. Have you seen this?
I've read this. I saw all of the crazy that came after that. It was insane. It was a good article.
Yeah. So the gist of it is that the way black men treat black women is similar to the way white people treat black people, where the lack of understanding of the disadvantage that they have, the lack of understanding of we have the same ambivalence to it as white people have towards our pain, and we aren't sensitive to it. So that kind of came up a couple weeks ago. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Tamara Johnson, and I am a commentator on the Trackstarz Universe.
So it was your sister, Amanda, right?
And my sister, Amanda, credit. What was the original question? It was the question of the day.
Yeah, it was the question of the day.
Yeah.
All right, so just real quick. So I was asked by somebody on our team, and she said, hey, Jeremiah, why don't you post this as the Trackstarz question of the day? And I said, okay, cool. So I posted, and it was basically about Christian. The question was Christian men. What do you not like in Christian women? I believe it is on that thing. And the guys went off. Oh yeah. The guys they was like shooting AK-47s. They were just going off, just shooting. And then this is when you stepped in.
This is when I stepped in and I said, well, I didn't say how is it helpful.
Did.
Amanda said, how is it helpful? I think I asked, is it helpful to come up with lists of turn-offs, or should we come up with a list of turn-ons? And that was when it jumped off. I think between us and Amanda saying, how is it helpful, people were like, what's the big deal? You guys da-da-da-da-da-da. And so we shot back and said, no, we're really just asking, is this helpful to run down a list of what's wrong with Christian women? And like I said, it just got worse and worse and worse. Amanda and I are twin sisters, and so as sisters, we sent each other screenshots of the comments that we were getting.
Screenshotting everything.
And we're like, can you believe this? I was homesick, and so I had time. And so
you never want to have time.
I had time. And so an hour later, Amanda posted what something to the effect of, this is a place that misogyny.
You know what she said.
I don't.
Yeah, you know exactly.
Because
I had to hit her up on Facebook Messenger and ask for clarity.
But it was something to the effect of, Trackstarz is a place that misogyny can be bred, and those were very extremely strong words. And it was at the height of, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're getting these comments. We went to Georgia Tech. It was a place of 70% male, 30% female. We're used to male spaces. We're used to misogyny. We're not used to it in Christian spaces. And so we realized after that, the conversation got switched to, we're not misogynist and we're not sexist, and we didn't want it to make it about, you guys are this and we're innocent people, and we didn't want to invalidate anyone's anyone's personal experience with like someone being a jerk to them. But we were sad that the conversation did take a nasty turn, and we were calling out the nastiness, and then that made it even worse. So I love you guys, and that's the only reason why I kept talking. I felt like this was a chance for the church to discuss potential latent issues. It wasn't me. Once again, I've been the person who's said awful things. Excuse me, and said like Christian guys are this, Christian guys are that. So when I saw someone coming up and saying, this, that, I was like, I've been there, and let me go ahead and call out my brothers for doing that, because I know what it's like to take when one person has offended me and conflate it to all of Christian men. So let me go ahead, as a Christian woman who can see this and is personally offended, let me just say, hey, brother, like, that's not a great thing. And so I guess it was interesting that the conversation switched from, we barely even answered the question of like what are turn-offs and turn-ons, and we ended up, the conversation just, it was.
So let me explain how this hit me, right? I didn't know about the question of the day. I didn't know about any of that.
Yeah.
All I got was a screenshot from Jeremiah saying that, is she okay if we read this?
Oh yeah, she's
okay.
super great.
So this is the comment that I saw first, fresh. I don't know nothing, right? I'm going to say it. Trackstarz tends towards misogyny that is so commonplace in today's society. The idea that nice guys finish last is killing the relationship between Christian brothers and sisters. It's self-serving and unloving. It is just disappointing that so many conversations dissolve into, poor me, all the Christian girls are mean, and disregard the autonomy and personhood of the woman in question. If we want to talk about relationships, can we not do it in a way that is identical to the darkest corners of 4chan? And she tagged me, Ryan, and Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I was like,
So she's like, you need
Remember, this was the height of.
Yeah.
So I didn't know nothing about this.
That was a different post though.
It
that was a separate
post.
Yeah.
So I was like, what happened?
So she like got off the chat and just did a whole other.
Yeah. So me not knowing anything, I'm like, is she coming for us? Like, what did we do? I mean, I know we have some crazy comments on here, but we try, we try our best.
It was not you guys.
So I was just like, yo, the only comment I had was, I just said, dang, like, and I,
Right.
because I'm like, now I'm searching my life, like, what am I doing wrong?
Your soul.
So I'm gonna get back to that comment because there was something in there that confused me that I had to. It was helpful for me to really dig through some of this. But once I found out what happened, what are some of the comments that made you guys feel that way from the guys? I could find them. I don't know if they want me to say it, but
Sure.
what,
And
like
I won't
the
call
gist,
anyone's name out.
the
'cause
gist.
Even though I remember pretty much every single
Call
one.
the names out. This would be
No,
good.
I won't.
Our names were called.
We should.
Our
We should
government
shot
names were
the digger.
called.
I believe Amanda wrote your names just to bring
Yeah,
attention,
to
not
reference us,
You
yeah.
guys you're fine. I remember when it started, it was like, I want to say one of the first few comments was like, they're not even ready. There's too many to list. And I was like, what? Like, is it that bad out these streets that Christian went? And so I remember leading on, like, someone got really dismissive. I started getting called not darling.
Yeah.
Started like someone called me like baby. And there was this very like, there was one guy who was like, you guys need to calm down, Amanda and Tamara, while like there's people are calling us names, and we're like, wait, you're calling us out, but what about like the 5 guys coming for us too? And so it was just that like I said, it was as though we were coming off as like hysterical or coming off as hostile, and it's like, no, literally, like the reason why I kept responding back and forth to the conversation was like I was trying to have a conversation. I remember like one of the conversation threads actually resolved. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even notice that. And we became friends on Facebook, and we're, like, that's why we got into it. So I don't want to sit here and say, oh, we were great and everyone else was awful. But I wanted to have healthy dialogue, and the conversation took a significant turn, and that was when we called it out. And so
I saw dialogue that said, don't talk to me like I'm a kid, and I was like, okay. And I just stopped reading at that point.
So I brought this. So, me, I always look in first. So I'm like, I brought it to my wife, and I was like, am I misogynist? Like, is there something I'm not seeing? She's like, I don't think it's you guys. And what was it that you told me? The one thing that she said that really was like, okay, it showed that you guys really value this universe thing that we made up, right? Like, it was like, this space is important to you. And it made me realize, like, okay, so we need to get involved with this, because this thing that the universe is something that Jeremiah made up freestyling on the show one day. And we just kind of turned it into our group, and people, there's just like 1,000 people in it now. So it just made me realize, oh, this is important. We really need to cultivate this space because people value it. Yeah. Right. So that was good. this is the topic that I want to get out of it, though. So I wanted you to come and talk through it so people understood. But the part that confused me and I had to struggle with is the idea that nice guys finish last is killing the relationship between Christian brothers and sisters. That's why I felt like you were talking about us, because we've said that.
Yeah.
You know?
We've been years.
Yeah.
Basement
that's
stories.
our MO. Like, yo, these girls passed us up, they ain't realize what, that's kind of like our thing.
Yeah.
So I think
All three of us.
Yeah. A lot of the guys were reflecting that same thing. Like, yo, like, I mean, we have spoken word pieces about that. Like, that's like our thing. Like, yo, because our experience over the years was, well, not this one, but our experience over the years was that
yeah, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, is that there were Christian women in the church that overlooked us, and they wanted something a little more flashy, a little more this, a little more that. So it was a built-in frustration into our upbringing. So we kind of vent that on the show sometimes, and it felt like when you guys brought that out, I was like, wait a minute, is that misogynist? And I'll tell you my conclusion that I came to at the end. I want to see what you guys feel about that.
Do you guys want to go? Or yeah.
I have a theory about this nice guys finish last thing for some guys, and I think it's a way for them to kind of be like, I'm a good dude, girls should just like me.
Yeah.
And I think it's to the point of where women are now in charge of this relationship because he's a nice guy, so I need to make sure that he is because he likes me, I need to be with him. And I think a lot of guys feel that all they have to do is be nice, especially as Christian men. They're like, I'm a Christian guy and I'm a nice guy, and then that should make me the number one pick for all the Christian women in my church. And I should at least
consider it.
Right. They feel but no, the thing is, it's not like you're not being considered, but I feel like there are so many nice guys who also do not reflect biblical manhood as well. They don't actually pursue. They don't they like you from 50 feet away instead of 10 feet away. So I don't know that you like me. You out here telling other people you like me, but me don't know that you like me. So what am I supposed to do with that this third or fourth person information? I don't do anything with third or fourth person information. If you don't tell me you like me, then what am I gonna do? So I think it's very difficult for women, especially when they're like, okay, I do know there are nice guys out there, and I know so many Christian women who are literally trying to be that Proverbs 31, and they're working really hard, and then they hear these things about nice guys, but they don't actually see these nice guys because y'all are back here I'm a nice guy, and I need someone to come see me as a nice guy and just be like, I am your Eve, let us be together. And that's not how this works at all.
I don't like how much my wife is laughing.
It sounds like you're saying nice guys don't shoot their shots.
No.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Or they shoot a hay, and a hay is not a shot.
And we're supposed to hear about that shot.
And I think that's what the difference is. Nice guys do lay back in the cut, waiting for you to I don't know what. And it's shoot your shot, speak up, because really the attention goes to the person that says something. Whether they're the right person or not, there's at least a conversation that's entertained because they're saying something, making their presence known, and at least making their intentions known. Whereas, just like you said, I know plenty of guys who have just been nice from a distance, feeling like if there's a little buzz going on over here in this corner, that I will eventually be attracted to the buzz, but that's not how it's supposed to work.
Can I speak up? Just trying to use the twin vibes here. The nice guy
here telling me.
I think from Virginia, she's saying that the nice guys finish last. Everything you're saying, it takes a sinister turn when it makes us not desiring you our fault. And so when the conversation is about well, they never see me and they never this and they never that, that's your turnoff. You're talking about yourself. You're talking about that's something you haven't necessarily done. And of course right now we're talking about relationships, etc. But I believe that when Amanda said nice guys finish last, we have experience, not just in the church but in other places too, this sense of I like you, therefore you owe me your affection. And it's that's not how it works. If we're talking about we value each other as Christian men and Christian women, if we believe in the Imago Dei, where we're equals in Christ, then we should if I tell you, or actually we don't know that you like me, so you haven't told me, but if I find out that you like me and I don't like you back, then why is there all of a sudden then that's a turnoff of Christian women? Like why is that our fault and the a character flaw for us? Wasn't that a character flaw for you? You know, or we can just carry on and praise God that like I've got out of the way for whoever is meant for you. You know, like that's how it should be taken.
I think speaking for the guy that's in the corner saying, "Hey," from a long distance, I think rejection is huge. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Rejection is huge. Being rejected is one of those things where it's like, we're friends. I ask you out, it doesn't work, or you like no. I'm like, how do I approach her now? Like if I'm friends with you, if we serve in ministry together, we doing different things at the church together, and we go out in group settings, we do all the nice Christian dating looking 101 things to do, and I ask you out and it don't work out, now it's awkward.
True, but then you can't blame him on being a nice guy.
No, I'm not saying I'm not blaming that. I'm just saying now it's awkward for the man to be like,
True.
Like how do
It's awkward on both ends though. Like
Okay.
especially if you're a woman who you didn't see this coming of your guy friend, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I like you, and you don't have those feelings. It's awkward on her end as well. And that's just like, okay, so how do I say something? And like, I'm still trying to preserve this because I do want like male companionship. He's cool, like we seem to be friends, and I don't want to, you know, make anything weird. So it's also on her as well. But I think when women sometimes hear like I'm a nice guy, and she, you know, women never want the nice guy, it feels like it doesn't feel like it's an equal attraction. It means like your standard is nice guy, and now I have to like you because nice guys are the epitome of everything that I want in the world.
I don't know. Let me just clarify, because I'm also one of these people. It wasn't just nice guy. It was godly guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It wasn't nice, you know. So I think the confusion for a lot of us is, as we watch from the corner, is that it didn't appear that the godly part was the most important part. It felt like the charisma was the most important.
Yeah.
The swag.
Yeah.
The swag was the most important. The life of the partiness was the most important. So for guys that aren't that, we felt that was a higher priority than the cultivating of godliness that we had been doing up until that point. Does that make sense?
Is this a conversation about older male mentorship that teaches the guys how to approach women and how to get over that awkward state? You know, or like, is that on the women to, I guess, make the guy feel better, or is it on the guy to be okay with rejection, to learn what that means to get over rejection? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not sitting here saying that there's not a problem for, let's say, Christian women who are charmed by charisma as opposed to the godliness. That's a problem for women to value the man's faith over that charisma. But I think that's a completely separate topic. And I think what happens is it starts when we start holding that attraction over each other. That's when the nice guys finish last turns sinister. And I think that's when the conversation changes from like, how should we treat each other, into you owe me this and I owe you that.
Well, let me just say this, like, rejection is a big thing, right? In any state, rejection can pull somebody way, way, way back. And so a lot of guys you might see in the church are sitting quiet because of rejection in the past that has brought them to the point where they're like, I don't need to shoot this shot until I'm sure, right? For me, I didn't shoot my shot until after social media helped me comb through that my wife was interested. You know, see what I'm saying? So yes, I had an opportunity to say right then and there when we were talking in the church, can I have your phone number?
Yep.
But it took me going back, befriending her on Facebook, and her making a comment on the things that I was saying on my page. Then I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. So as soon as I hit her with the, can I have your phone number? I'd like to give you a call sometime. It was immediate. Yeah, here's my number. You know, and I called right away.
You still did eventually shoot your shot, and that's the whole thing. Like, you got there. You may have been playing the long game, but at least you were there.
But rejection causes us to hide behind social media in a way. Like, that was my buffer, and I'm not going to just say for myself. It was a buffer for Sean. It was a buffer for Jeremiah. It was like we all had to kind of, as a community, pull each other in and say, she's interested. Make sure that you do this. Make sure that you do that. But I'll say this: like, rejection can set you so far back, even in let's just take Trackstarz, for example. When we get rejected by a big brand, it takes us a while to step back up and say, hey, let's go after another big brand. So I would say for rejection, then you start worrying about when you're in the back corner, the guy with the swag, the guy with the charisma, the guy that's running back and forth and entertaining everybody is the guy that you're thinking, okay, if I ask her, she's gonna shoot me down for that guy because she's waiting on that guy to ask, and that's usually what happens. They're waiting on that guy to come and approach them after they see that he's already kind of somewhat entertained the other ladies in the church as well.
But
Okay.
Yeah. I was about to say, let's move it back.
Well, first thing, we talked a little bit about the awkwardness that can happen in a relationship and how if you get rejected, it can be something that you kind of have to bounce back from. And I think that's fair. But is that really the worst thing in the world, though? I feel like, we're equipped spiritually and with our community to deal with the feelings that are not so good. I had a friendship where he, since we using the term, shot his shot. I was not ready, and it took us a minute to get the friendship back online. It was tough for a minute, but then we got past it. And I think that sometimes we don't think about the fact that, hey, if I'm surrounded by my community, I did everything I was supposed to do according to the word and according to what my community has advised me to do, then if you've done all that and you shot your shot and it didn't go through, that's fair. And there's nothing wrong with taking a minute to be like, let me fall back, let me get my bearings. But I also don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Just like you say, it takes you a minute before you approach a brand again. You do it though. You don't just be like, well, guys, RIP to Trackstarz. But eventually you get back in the game and you do it and you get past those feelings. But when it comes to dating, we don't seem to want to deal with those feelings. So then we have a bunch of people who are just avoiding each other when we all want the same thing. And that doesn't make sense. I'd rather have hurt feelings with results than preserved feelings without the thing that I want.
I think I get this. I think I get it.
You gotta get it.
I think I get it. I think there's two things. One, there's always competition in this situation, right? We can't shy away from that. We shouldn't shy away from that, and we should embrace that and understand that. Also, there's going to be rejection, right? And rejection happens, and it builds you. One closed door just leaves you room for another open door later on. So you can't let the rejection be the end of you shooting your shot, period, right? You can't let that be the end of you kind of just being pushed to the side and never approaching another girl again, right? Because she wasn't, it doesn't mean that the next one won't be it. So it shouldn't, I understand because I've been rejected thousands upon thousands of times, right? But
See, you're the guy entertaining everybody.
What do you mean?
You're the
But you're saying
What you mean?
But you're saying so charisma doesn't win?
What do you mean?
Help me understand that.
I'm not.
What do you? I'm not the guy.
So
I'm not the guy.
let me make a.
I'm the guy.
Yeah, let me make a.
I'm the guy.
Yeah, let
get
me
out
make-
of here.
Let me make a delineation.
You can ask any woman everywhere. I'm not the guy.
Everywhere.
Okay, all of them.
I got
Except for
really
your
lucky
wife,
in that
right?
one time, right? But
for your wife.
I'm not the guy. You feel what I'm saying?
I think I have a question for the nice guys is, okay, so let's say all Christian women, all of them just don't see your value, whatever it is. What is your ideal way of this happening then? Like, are you looking for someone to come to you and go, I see you. You are a nice man, and I want to be with you for the rest of my life. In which case,
that happened to me.
I think what happened to me was more. I had friends. My friends was like, just talk to her. It's gonna be okay. And I was like, okay. I had male friends say that to me. It wasn't like, you know what I'm saying. So I think that's what it saying was. What,
Talking like it wasn't us. But go ahead.
you're like, some guys, they're like, we were there, right? He went.
I had Sean, Ryan, and Rick Sincere say, go ahead, man. It's gonna be okay. I think that was, and it dropped my attention from 100 to like, okay, you can do this. You know what I mean?
So this is what I figured out. All right. So because I was really confused by Amanda. Honestly, I was like, I don't understand. But I did think about some of the comments we made on the show about, oh, these girls don't, they overlook us, the drought, all this kind of stuff that we've done on the show that we're famous for. But what I realized was, there is a difference in expectation that I think guys have for young ladies. Is we expect you to put godly character at the top and downplay all of the physical and personality desires that you may have. But we don't.
Thank you.
I was gonna say that. I was like, are y'all out here like, y'all, she is a Ruth, or are you be like, oh, she is a snack? Like, what is the variation? Because y'all, you were just talking about, oh, I saw those dimples, and she was so cute. Y'all are not out here going, oh, my proper.
They were
pretty
Christian
red.
dimples, though.
Y'all look at physical too. So if we have a type, if we're like, I would like for him to look a certain way, y'all like, oh no, she doesn't want a godly man at all.
I want to go back. I want to go back to a question.
I don't see your godly character from jump. I see what you look like a little bit, just a little.
I want to go back to a question. When you said that your friend took his shot and you said you weren't ready, do you mind telling us why you weren't ready or why he was not ideal for you?
Oh, don't even ask for the PS of this story.
Well, I wasn't ready because I was recently out of a relationship.
Okay.
And I felt like God may have whispered a little something to me about him then, but it all felt overwhelming, and I was just like, that might have been me though. So I kind of let it go. But, fast forward a couple of years, the friendship did all right. We've been together for about 1.5 years now, so we're doing okay.
So you are together.
Yeah.
Now.
Y'all together.
Yeah.
Stayed.
No, but I'm letting you know, as somebody who had to work through that tough time in the friendship, he was one of my closest friends at the time. And it was like, there were times where it was like, I can't talk to you right now. And I'll just be like, oh, like, I can't do this with you. And I was like, well, all right then. And it was hard. We had to get through that. There were times where I'm like, dang, I'm used to being like, hey, such and such and such, did you listen to this album? And I was like, I didn't have that either. We couldn't just be the same. So there was definitely a period of cooling where we had to fall back. And then eventually things ended up working out. God started to say some things to me about him, and then things sort of aligned for us to do this again. But again, there was still a period. There was a 2-year gap between, hey, shooting the shot and the shot actually landing. So,
and I think in that, there's two people, you guys both had a say, you had equal say, you respected each other, you conversed, you had this relationship and respect. I'm assuming, and I don't want to like project, but you guys were
safe assessment.
Christian, like brothers and sisters, like you care about the church, and you're like, this is my brother, how can I bless him even though I don't like him in this way? And I think sometimes when that rejection happens from one to another, or from a guy to a girl, I think the natural reaction when the rejection is an offense, and in that offense you want to offend back. If we're talking about the body of Christ, what you do is you forgive. What you do is you talk through things if there's maybe some confusion, but whatever it is, you're trying to respect the person on the other side. And I think that gets lost. And I believe that's sometimes a character. I don't want to say character flaw, but I think maybe the church should talk more about how to deal with rejection, how to be okay with someone not liking you. Maybe like just because it didn't work out. Like I can think of so many guys that I liked before. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, and they're the one in the church. And then like, and he prays and he does this and he does that. Godly character was 100, 1,000%. You know what I mean? Like I know that they know the Bible because they're in my Bible study. Like I know, but they didn't like me. And I didn't like them back, and that's okay. Well, I like them, but you know what I mean? Like they didn't like me, and I had to get over that. I had to be okay with that. And it is what it is. Like, and I look back and like, thank you God for shutting the door on that. Like, maybe it could have worked out, but I think sometimes marriage is it can be this like fairy tale, like, and as it was, it should have been, and they live happily ever after. Sometimes we don't know what the happily ever after is, and when you're shooting your shot, it is a mess and it is muddling, but if everybody can respect each other in the middle of it, I think that's like we're in the right place. Even if rejection happens, even if signals are crossed, I think as long as there's a certain amount of respect, it's okay. And like I said, it's okay for us to all have these feelings for people, as long as we can respect out loud. That's it.
I agree, and I think that if we've already put ourselves in positions to where we have the support that we need, we have our friends, we have our small groups, we have people around us, then we have to be okay to feel the feelings that we don't like, because then what are we doing? We signed up for persecution and we can't even handle no thank you sir. What are we doing?
Good,
Yeah.
What are we training for?
I think that one thing after hearing everybody say what they say is that it may be a situation where, like you just said earlier, like you may like a guy and he doesn't like you, or you may like a woman and she just doesn't like you, and you have to understand that from both. You got to be okay with that, and I think that's the biggest problem from the nice guy is like, well, she doesn't like me. I don't know what to do, or like, how are we gonna be friends now? And then vice versa, like from the women. Like,
so there's a couple things that I gathered from this. For the guys that were like me and mostly Jeremiah, from honestly, yeah. If somebody doesn't like you for your personality or your looks or whatever, that's okay, because you don't want you. I wouldn't want anybody telling me, oh, that Christian woman of God over there, you should marry her. I don't like her. Yeah. You're not gonna make me marry nobody I don't like. Yeah, you know what I mean? True. So why would you expect them to marry somebody they don't actually naturally like? Yeah. So that's number one. But also for the guys that are more reserved, the guys that do feel like they have the godly character, but they may not have the charisma that certain women like, it's okay. Somebody will like you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, I think I'm safe to say that my wife likes me. You know what I mean? So I'm mad you had to look over for like confirmation.
You good? You are assuming correctly.
She got you to side out.
Elfie was like,
sometimes.
At times.
That's a safe assumption.
Yeah. Yes, I think a lot of times when we look at rejection, we feel like somebody is rejecting something in us instead of saying, I can't do this for me. Yeah. Because even in my situation, there were things that God needed to fix in me. Like, had he gotten 2014 Simone was a mess. We wouldn't even be speaking. I'm 100% sure, because of my ways at the time. And so I wasn't even a person who, like, my behavior didn't deserve that kind of relationship. I couldn't have handled it, and it would have just gone away. And sometimes when we are rejected, we look at it like, oh no, it's me. There's something they didn't like about me. Oh no, and we beat ourselves up. When he kept it pushing, he lived his life, he dated other people, all of that stuff. And then when I became the kind of person that could be with the kind of person that he is, I had to level up. Couldn't tell him that though. But dang. Now he knows. Put it on wax. Oh my gosh.
But 92.3% of the time, right? She's rejecting you because she don't like you. You know what I mean?
But, no, but the thing
it's
is,
not normally about her.
Do you know that? Has that? So when you filled out your survey at the end of this,
right?
Was that the feedback?
As an expert of rejection, I understand that most of the time when you're being rejected, right, it's not because she's going through a tough time in life right now.
No, but the thing
is, because she's just not in the right place.
But the thing is,
you ain't the guy.
But
she don't want
here's
you.
the thing. But I think your percentage off. I think you really. I don't think you understand. Christian women got so many things going on. There's womanhood. There's life. There's career. If you catch
that's why y'all be rejecting people.
First of all, in my first few years of singleness, everybody was getting the no. Okay, everyone, because myself, and me and Christ were trying to get along. Okay.
Hold on.
First, before I was trying to do anybody
let's be
else.
fair here. I'm going a great distance from my natural self to trying to understand. So we have to at least be honest and say that yes, that may be true, that time in life and all that stuff, but there are some guys that you just don't like.
Yeah, there are some guys you just don't like.
Yes.
Some of y'all nice guys aren't as nice as you think you are.
But some of y'all there's that. There is that. But honestly, some of us aren't even getting the opportunity to. Some of us don't even get the opportunity to pick and choose, in that nobody's speaking up though. So it's not like we're just out here like, nope. That's not what's happening. We're just basically hearing a rumbling from the distance, and if we didn't step forward, that's perceived as rejection too. So it's not like we're getting all of these opportunities. It's not like I'm just, nope, send all of y'all to voicemail. That's not happening. Yeah. So it's like,
So I'm just trying to speak for the guy who, like, they did try.
Yep, shot the shot.
They did get rejected, and it wasn't because the person wasn't ready. It was because they just didn't like you, right?
Well, then deal with it.
Right. So for that guy, what I'm trying to say is that can happen. That will happen. For you, don't take it as a internal thing. Just for me, I didn't know that something. Not better, but for me was coming. You see what I'm saying? Like there was somebody who saw me.
You can say better.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
She said you can say better.
You better say
Yeah, better. Yeah.
So let me help you with that.
Who's better, son?
Somebody that better meaning better situation for me, meaning like I thought it was normal to be treated that way. Okay, so I didn't know that better was coming, where somebody actually could see me, like me, and not expect me to be somebody else. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Care.
And for the guy that I'm talking about, that person exists. There's somebody who uniquely likes the type of person you are. And whether it's popular or not, which is what I think we experienced, is that guys like us weren't the most popular, but it doesn't mean that somebody doesn't have eyes for the type of person you are. So the patience that's required in that situation, the growth that can occur in that situation, I value some of those moments because it made me a stronger man, you know? So everybody that I've seen experience some of this rejection, like even us in the room, it made us better.
That's right.
So don't disparage those moments, because it can really turn around and make you into somebody. Because if that doesn't happen, you may not be ready when your Alfie comes.
Yeah.
I needed to be that guy when she came.
Yeah, that's
you know what I
right.
mean? So,
I do have an issue though, right?
Bring it up.
I do, because sometimes, right, when the guy thank you, Ryan. Sometimes when the guy shoots his shot, right, and he gets rejected by one of the Christian girls in a close Christian environment, that girl then tells every other girl, right, that he shot his shot and missed with her. Now he's kind of thrown off and can't really shoot a shot with the rest of the girls who are available to him. I don't like this reporting, right? And not just me, other guys out there.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily like that. I don't think that's a good thing, right? I feel like if you shoot your shot, right, you miss, you should be able to shoot your shot later on with somebody else.
I think.
I agree.
I think what we.
We all agree with that. We don't
Why do y'all
like
do
this.
that?
But the thing is, it's not just. I think it's the environment that's happening in. It's not just the women. It's the way that people are being told about courting. They're being told that you just have one person who's in this group of people that you can only be with, and that's part of the reason why guys lay back. They got to figure out the one.
You got to figure out the one.
Because if you don't pick the
'Cause
right
if you miss,
one,
it's a wrap.
the whole group. But that's the same reason women will do that too. That's why she said no, though, because she was like, if I get with you and it don't work, and then one of these other dudes think they like me, I can't date them because now it's all incestual and nasty and stuff. But that's bad, and I don't like that, because I've actually said that in my young adult setting. I'm like, y'all, you need to stop acting like you could only date one person, because all your relationships are going to fail except the person you end up being with.
But
so
is
you
that
need to get ready.
But is that good? Like, 'cause that was one of us. That's what you kind of agree with him, because that was us. We didn't want to keep
we're
dating
different.
people.
We're different kind of guys, right? So these two were okay with dating a lot of people. We wanted to, we were like trying to hit the game winner. You know what I mean?
I understand that, but I feel like a lot of men are just waiting for like that burning bush moment where God is just going to tell you she is the person that you're supposed to be with, and that doesn't happen. Y'all are going to have to use some of your own investigation.
But in that pressurized situation,
I have a question.
you got to
for
make that move.
How do you kill the Christian player then? Because that looks like, from our eyes, like, yo, that guy's dating her. Like, how do you kill that? Because that doesn't sound like I'm just dating to date. You know what I mean? In the church.
I don't think anything is wrong with having a dating history with multiple people in the church, depending on how that looked. Now, if you were with this person on Tuesday, then Saturday night you were with her, then you sat next to her in church on Sunday. Then that's a little bit different. That guy, I don't know what to say. He needs. Yes, but the thing is, if you have
a character flaw.
No, but if you've dated somebody within the church and you did everything you were supposed to do to be guarded and protected there and so on, and then that didn't work out, and then a reasonable period of time, like not churches. 2 months,
right?
Not 2 months.
Right, that's what it sounds like, Sean.
Then it's like, okay, you're free to date again. Nobody's like, oh no, we will never forget that time that we saw you in the cafe with such and such. Don't you dare. You're not blacklisted.
If you're in the cafe on Tuesday, thou shalt not have another date that week.
You know what? Thou shalt not troll my point.
You met your match.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
I'm just saying
More
no.
often.
Wait, I feel like there are no dating commandments. Yes, there's no.
I'm just-
There's
Oh,
nothing
we're
like
gonna
that.
make one.
But I feel like it would be great. It would be because I think both sides want some type of idea of what this is supposed to look like. But I feel like for a lot of there is the Christian player, there is the dude who is out here just trying to get all the hearts, trying to figure out exactly what he's doing.
All the hearts.
One of these two apparently. I don't know. I'm just going from what has been said. I wasn't there. I did not. This is not an eyewitness account. I'm just saying I don't know what happened, but I'm telling you that there seems to be just two different dudes. There's either the dude who is out here trying to date, and then here's the dude who's out here trying to get that Moses proclamation that she's the one and thou shalt go. And I'm like, between those two, there are levels that we could be trying to date on. There are some things that we could be doing because there's either chicks who never ever get someone talking to her, and then there's the girl who was like, you dated all the dudes at this church because you're the one who is seen as Ruth and she is the one to be gotten. I'm like, there are
She's the one to be gotten.
there's like there's a spectrum, there's levels, and I feel like most people either lose their personality entirely when they get saved, like they went down and came up and you're like, ooh, what happened? And then there's others who didn't get all the way in, and maybe they need to get dunked down again because they still have some levels of things they need to work through. I don't think everybody who's dating the church should be dating right now, possibly, because they still are bringing worldly concepts into the church. And then there are some who are like, you should probably date because you don't know how to talk to people, and you're like, you need to get in there and try to find your one and, mix it up a little bit. I feel like a lot of young adults are it's a sterile environment because everybody's scared and it looks like middle school and everybody's there's all women groups and all men groups and y'all don't know how to talk to each other. And then there's the other ones who you're like, y'all need to stop and get back with Jesus because y'all are doing the most and everybody's dating too much. And
Yeah.
there are levels.
So we'll keep hammering this. You guys can't because you guys don't talk about dating. So we'll get back to that. You're in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah. Leg up.
Hey guys, Miracle here. Thanks so much for watching the show. Make sure you go below, subscribe, like, click the bell. Oh, and go to our website because that's important. And be sure to follow us on all forms of social media and tell everyone you know about us. Okay? Thanks. See you next time.
We know not what we doing. Screw that, they know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it. Never mind, got a mind that'll wind up with me in a lineup behind bars with these bars. Okay, my time's up.
Team Freedom.
Yeah.
We not through yet.
All right.
Trackstarz Music presents.
Turn my volume up. Turn me off.